As we live through our lives, we are in the constant search for some type of plot or looking for some type of meaning. The common person lives their lives with a abundance or a plethora of paths that can be taken. And then we are put into a system that in some way, shape, or form aids you in pushing you towards choosing a path or some type of plot in life. Like how in general or traditionally school causes and prepares people to get jobs. And then after our traditional schools, we are put into like a more diverse set of education where we choose our own path and there are schools tailored to our specific path or interest. And while I'm saying that all these paths have to do with education, there are paths that have absolutely nothing to do with education. Like the path we take from birth or from when we're conscious to find out what we actually like. And I feel like too often we select a path that almost has nothing to do with what we really want and has so much to do with how society values some path and like pleasing those around us and the greater part of society. But this society is time and time again pushing out these stigmas and stereotypes to those who deviate from the normal paths that are presented by the educational system and general society and social media and all of that in general. And this is basically like a huge game, and the typical person will play this game as if the end or the answer is near, treating it as if the reward for all of their actions is just around the corner, thinking that since society and the majority of people view the path as something that is fundamental to achieving some type of happiness, that it guarantees it for yourself as well if you are to embark on the same path. Thinking that the experience that someone else had on the path is guaranteed if you follow suit and try to replicate exactly what they did. But most of the time, this is not the case. The man finds themselves trotting onward, moving forward and pushing until they realize that the reward, the answer they're trying to get, the final end of their journey, all of that was with them all along. This crisis or midlife crisis is the realization that all of your efforts were not for yourself, but rather for appeasement of the general society. So what we need to do is prioritize our own happiness on our path and appreciate what we feel should be appreciated. Famous philosopher Jean-Luc Godard once said, "He who jumps into the void owe no explanation to those who stand and watch." Basically saying, if you see some sort of path ahead and you decide to plunge onto that path and start doing all the things that you feel you should do, then it is not your responsibility to prove to those who do not see that same beauty as you, to prove to them that it is the right path. People are naturally going to reject what is different from their current ideology or their current biases or however they feel the world currently works. They're going to reject everything that deviates from the plan or the structure that they've built upon their entire lives. That is to say that everyone has their own perspective, and if they cannot see what is clear to you, then it is not your problem. Too often we let society dictate our value. Like those who indebt themselves to, let's say, like art or music or some other type of pursuit of knowledge that deviates from the standard go to school, get a college education, get some type of education, and join the workforce. We view all of those people who don't necessarily follow the rigid structure as wasting their time. We feel like they're just doing stuff as a phase or as if it has no value. And I feel like this negative connotation is what often drives people to neglect their current happiness to kind of like exemplify the Puritan worth ethic of like sacrificing the now in order to have some type of happiness in the later future. And I'm a high schooler in the pretty much the middle of my final year, and I'm coming to realize that what we are being prepared to do is become a part of a larger system where the meaning for our lives is taken in rather than given out. We allow things to have value just because most of society says it does, rather than giving our life meaning and value. It's like sort of similar to like nihilist principles, but absolutist as well. I just learned about this, but it's like nothing means anything until you are the one that gives it meaning. You're the thing that is expressing it to the external world, that is attributing meaning to these things. So rather than stressing about what path to take, value what is valuable to you and move forward.